Hi guys, Exeter Rider here. This week it's the Benelli 400 Imperiale. What a nice looking bike, eh? Let's fire up. Sounds very much like the Classic 500. Now this is a knee bike, so it is going to be still running in. Clutch has a nice biting point. Okay, so what's it like in traffic then, and filtering and all the town work that this bike would do? But so far I found it incredibly light, and it's a relatively thin bike as well. So you can really, well, generally speaking, get up to the front of the queue. As I say, it's so light on top. It's all the weight is very low down, very manoeuvrable indeed. Finding neutral is very easy, and it's the sort of bike that you could ride around in 5th gear on. Just at 30 mile an hour, you know, all day. It's quite a pleasurable bike, really. That's the way I describe it. The gear indicator is very good. On some bikes, they're sort of tucked away, the gear indicator. That isn't very intuitive, but this is right as you look down, it's right there. And it hasn't missed anything yet. Every gear that I've gone into, it's been right. Bike is very stable. It's got a nice thud to it as well. Well, I've had a lot of comments saying how hot the engine gets, but I must admit, I've honestly felt nothing yet. It's been between 8 and 10 degrees today. It's lovely, and the engine is up to temperature now, but I'm feeling nothing. So through town, it's really impressive. It's nice and lightweight, gives you loads of confidence. The relatively large wheels are gliding over the bumps quite nicely. It's a very simple bike to ride. Very narrow as well. I'm going to have to check on the spec after and see how narrow it is actually from bar to bar. The seat position is nice. The pegs position is nice as well. I'll show you that on the walk round in a second. And the mirrors are on stalks, quite high stalks here, so I'm seeing over my elbow and exactly what I need to see. You know, it's definitely I don't want to say twitchy in a bad way, but it's a very responsive bike. It responds to your every move, partly due to the weight being so low and it being light on top, and the big wheels with the well levered handlebars, shall we say. As an everyday bike, this bike would be brilliant. It's got a real nice character about it. An A to B bike, but in not in a boring way, but in a nice way. And in typical Benelli fashion, it's very well ratioed on the gears as well. I know I had on the 752, I felt that first was a little bit high, but that was only due to the clutch scenario, really. Whereas on this one, it fits it perfectly. They've got it absolutely spot on. And for me personally, that is a big tick box. There's nothing I hate more than a gearbox that's too lowly, ratio too low. Can't stand it when you have to be in 6th gear by the time you hit 30 miles an hour. Whereas with this one, I'm doing 35 or so, and I'm in 4th gear, and it's not ready for 5th gear yet. That's exactly the way I like it. What speed are we doing? We're doing 40 miles an hour. I guess that's a slight irritation really, is that the dial, the speedo is in kilometers an hour on the main outside part. So you got to look on these little numbers here, which I guess is, again, you know, it's muscle memory. You'll soon get used to that. But you got to look on the little dial here for the miles per hour, which is what we use in the UK. And I guess, to be fair, most of the world is in kilometers per hour now, and we're still stuck on miles per hour. So that might be just a British problem, that one, I think. I hate comparing bikes, but you can't help it, can you? I mean, it's the most natural thing in the world to think, what is this bike going to be like? Is it going to be like the classic 500 or a Triumph Bonneville or those sort of things? And it is definitely got the same makeup as the classic 500, but luckily without the vibrations, and it's got less of a thud to it. It hasn't got that long stroke that the classic 500 has got. And that is a good thing, there's no doubt about that. It's as much as I loved that bike, I really did. I'm quite saddened that they're taking it out of production actually, but that classic 500, I loved it. It is everything that motorcycle riding should be. It was such a sweet bike, but it did vibrate a lot, and certainly at higher speeds it you know, there's only so much you could have done higher speeds on the classic 500, although I do hear that it does actually get better with age, and you know, the more miles you do with the classic 500. But this you've got the, let's say you got the same kind of bike, but without the it's just different, I guess. It's just different in a good way. Use, and of course it is you know, quite light because it is air cooled. You haven't got the radiator and all that to contend with, which is just adding weight all the time. If this was water cooled, I would say that it might even be too refined actually, which is right. So I first saw this bike about 4 weeks ago now at CMS, and it instantly grabs you, the quality of the bike and the finish. They've done a great job of the exhaust as well, making it stainless steel. That looks really smart. It's a very long exhaust. It travels the pretty much the length of the bike really from the engine. Very distinctive. It's only a single. Obviously it's a single exhaust for a single pot engine. We've got a great big chunky brake lever here for the rear brake. That looks really solid, really strong. The foot pegs are a nice rubber as well, really thick. They do look a tiny bit on the weak side, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. The metal that goes up to the foot peg is just standalone. It's got a reinforcement bar on it, but it does seem a little bit weak. So it's not the sort of bike you would want to get on via the foot pegs, as in stand on the foot pegs and swing your leg over. It's not one of those bikes. And so if you do need to do that, then I would advise you get that strengthened up a bit more. Everything on the bike, you can tell they're really proud of, and the way they've designed it, because everything's marked Benelli all over, whether it's the grips, the actual handlebars, Benelli emblem on the top of the case there, and here, and even on the exhaust actually, and they're really proud of that, and so they should be. It's a bike that comes in at £3,700, £3,700, I can't believe it, on the road. You'd struggle to get a 125 for that these days, wouldn't you? Is the bike substandard? No, this is obviously is a 400 and you're paying less money and the quality is just the same. There's nothing wrong with it. It's brilliant. The mirrors I'm impressed with as well. They don't vibrate hardly at all. The passenger rear seat is okay. It's got a lot of padding on it, and even on the rider's seat, we've got the springs underneath, much like the classic 500. I keep on going back to that, and I'm trying not to. But that takes the vibration, or any vibrations, out. Does it vibrate still? Yes. But
only in a good characterful way. It's nothing heavy about it or buzzy. You could easily go on, ride this bike all day and it won't get too much for you. I've got some decent grab handles here for pulling the bike around. Passenger's got some decent foot pegs. Nice chunky ones there, very, very strong. They feel fantastic. It's a pleasure to ride this bike. It really is. It's really nice to pot around on and go exploring on. Right, as standard with this bike as well, it also comes with a centre stand. So again, I've got these decent grab handles and it's very light to lift up and on. Very easy. To get on the bike, it's very easy. This is going to be a bike suitable for all heights. If you're taller, then it's going to be fine, and if you're shorter, then this is going to be the bike for you. So to start it up, it sounds fantastic. I've got a clear neutral light there. So it's got that lazy, peppy kind of sound to it, and sounds good, sounds fine. It's a nice looking exhaust as well, and considering it's a 400, then for a 400 I think it sounds pretty damn good. I kind of know what to expect now. I knew this bike was going to be finished to a good standard. It seems like the sort of bike that you can just hose off if you get it too muddy, and it will just come up like new, because everything's powder coated so nicely and finished in a nice high gloss finish. It's a great bike for going around exploring the lanes, or even longer journeys. It'll be fine. So the sort of person who would own this bike is somebody who's probably A2 or just passed their test, and this is also good for returning riders. In fact, I'll put myself out there and say it's probably one of the best bikes to buy for a returning rider. It's not got too much power, you're not going to get yourself in trouble, and it's just overall, it's just easy to ride, just an easy bike to ride, and it feels nice to ride, like the Classic 500 did. I didn't used to like them. I rode the Classic 500, I loved it. And this is exactly the same kind of setup. Totally different, but exactly the same setup. Adjustable brake lever as well on the front, which is good. The clutch is quite compliant. It bites at a nice time, and it's quite light to use as well. You've got a nice lever, and it's quite easy to manoeuvre. But as I say, for parts, if you're worried about that, then I shouldn't worry too much. Apparently most of the parts are available overnight anyway, so Benelli know what they've got to do. They've got to get that part situation right, and from my research, mainly on the TRK forums and etc., they are doing quite a good job of that. So I shouldn't worry about that too much. And also they are very reliable. I've done a lot of digging around, and I mean, I can't speak for this bike specifically, but the Lianciano and the TRK engine is fabulous. They get the odd problem here and there, but nothing different than any of the other big brands. So yeah, good stuff. Right, let's get on and have another ride.
Right then guys, so some quick fire stats for you. This bike is available in black or silver. I believe they got other colours in other countries, but that's what it says in the UK catalogue at the moment. It's a single cylinder air-cooled power plant. It produces 21 horsepower. I've worked out, they've put it in PS, but I've worked out to 21 horsepower at 5,500 revs. It's a 5-speed box. One thing I didn't mention actually is the headlight is normal halogen, it's not LED. Obviously they're trying to keep the bike at a price point, and obviously it's a retro style. You know, I do like LED lights. It is a major tick box for me, but the problem with LED, of course, is if they do break, then it's a couple £100 as opposed to a couple quid for a bulb, or a few pound for a light bulb, and away you go again. But like I say, you know, it's I don't know what it's like at night, but I would imagine it would still be pretty good anyway, this one, because you know, it's quite a big headlight there. Yeah, alright, let's go and have another ride. I love this bit. Believe it or not, walk rounds, you won't believe how long they take to do. been here for about an hour now. In fact, I take longer doing the walk rounds with all the people coming through, and you know, even in this quiet place, you can't go wrong, can you? Yes, you can. I've had probably about 8 people stop me and ask about the bike and that. So anyway, right, switchgear wise, we got hazards there, kill switch and a starter. Got your revs there, and the speedo with all the trip and the total miles and the time. Then this side we got the indicators, which are quite nice. They're good enough. High beam, low beam. Sounds quite good. I like that. Right, and the horn. Alright, let's rock and roll. That'll be for the Himalayan sometime down there. Though it's not, you know, really powerful and fast, it's still got a bit of get up and go with it. Again, this is a relatively steep hill here, but I don't feel I'm lagging in power at all. Yeah, this is great. Like I say, all the torque is low down, so it's doing a cracking job of this. Hope there's no ice up here. It's a joke. Again, third gear, 4,000 revs. Very comfortable, hardly any vibrations. And the handlebars are at such a nice height here as well. That's I don't think I've mentioned that yet, but it's a very stable bike. Let's get that one out of the way. But I feel every now and then that the back does seem a little bit wallowy. But the front feels very planted, actually. You got the spoked wheels for a change. So you know, it looks right on the bike. Obviously, you got a few cleaning things to think about there. Cleaning spoked wheels is never much fun, but let's say it does suit the bike, so swings and roundabouts. The brakes are better than what I thought they would be. The front and the rear are both very good. Coming through, they're both very good. I haven't felt the ABS kick in yet. Might give the back a bit of a tweak in a minute and see what that's like. Let's do it now. That's good. That's good. It would suit a lot of people, this bike, for sure. And it'll get people back into biking as well, more importantly. There's a lot to like about it. I'd like one. Definitely, I'd have one. 3,700 quid. It's just such a bargain. Keep on banging on about that. I've got to shut up about that now. Right, so we're going to have a quick blast up the motorway here. Gives you a 0 to 60 as well. There's the 60 in third gear. Still pulling in fourth gear, and we're coming up to 80 now. Right, so at 75 we're at 5,500 revs. Vibrations in the handlebars are very, very minimal. Not much on the seat, and next to nothing on the pegs. It is accumulative, so by the time you had a little bit on the handlebars and then the seat and then the pegs, and there's a little bit there, but it's doing very, very well. 70 miles an hour is about right for this bike. It will do more, but after 70 it's going to struggle a bit more. But that's all you need. Very, very comfortable. The lock on it is, well, that's full lock basically, so it is quite a, you don't get much lock on it, but it's acceptable. The brake lever has got a nice long arm on it, but it takes a bit of pushing down to reach it. But again, you know, it's just an observation. It's not a problem. Right, so overall, I really like this bike. It's a real good all-rounder. It does a bit of everything quite well. Finish on it is great. Brakes are great. Mirrors are anti-vibe. They're brilliant as well. It's just a good everyday bike, really. Very enjoyable. Nothing I particularly dislike about it at all. Foot pegs could be stronger and that's about it, really. But no, I do like this bike a lot. It's really good. Thanks as ever to CMS in Pinho and Exeter for the loan of the bike. If you've not been there before, get yourself there. They've got a good range of Royal Enfields and Benellis and a few other makes as well. So it's definitely worth a visit, and their bikes are always at a good cost and very good service as well. Really nice people there. I'll leave you with the spec and the pictures and all that, and thank you very much for watching. Give it a big like, and if it's the first time to the channel, give us a subscribe. I'd much appreciate that. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next week.